I'll be welcoming Dr. Glen Johnson.
Well, thank you very much, President Pat, faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates of this class of 2015. It's an honor for me to serve as your commencement speaker on this very important occasion of the 200th commencement ceremony at OSUIT. Moultrie County has a very special place in my heart. I represented this county for 14 years in the state legislature, and it was a real honor and privilege to represent the interests of OSUIT to my colleagues in the legislature, and it's great to be back on campus today. Commencement. I think about it, and I think back a couple of years ago when my wife Melinda and I were watching back when Larry King was still on. He had Reverend Billy Graham as his guest on Larry King Live. And Larry King asked Reverend Graham, he said, "You've been a public figure now for 8 decades. He said, "What is the most memorable speech or event you ever were involved in?" And Reverend Graham didn't bat an eye. He said, "It's very simple." He said, "It was at a college commencement." Reverend Graham said, "I wasn't the speaker, I was there for the invocation." And he said, "I won't tell you who the speaker was because he went on and on and on and on." In fact, Reverend Graham said it was so bad, the person next to me on the platform actually took his shoe off and threw it at the speaker. And he said he missed the speaker, but it hit a lady on the front row and knocked her out of her chair. And he said she got up and said, "Hit me again, I can still hear him speaking." I think back again, another true story about commencements. The first president, George H.W. Bush, was ready to go back in 1991 to deliver the commencement speech at his alma mater, Yale. And they showed him a video of the speaker the year before as an example of what not to do in a commencement speech. The speaker, whose name will not be mentioned because he's still living, got up and he said, "Yale, let's take the Y in Yale. The Y in Yale stands for you." And the speaker literally talked for 20 minutes about the importance of youth in society. Graduates were getting a little nervous. He said the A in Yale stands for adventure, and talked another 15 minutes about why it's important for Yale alumni to be adventurous. Graduates were getting very nervous. He said the L in Yale stands for loyalty, and went on for another 20 minutes about how important it is to be loyal to your college, to your state. Graduates were now starting to leave the ceremony. He then said the E in Yale stands for enthusiasm. And if Yale graduates are anything, they are enthusiastic. And literally graduates were leaving in droves by this point. Well, the speaker finished, he was leaving, and he encountered one of the graduates down on his knees praying. And he said, "Son, what are you praying for?" And the graduate said, "I'm just giving thanks that I didn't go to the University of Massachusetts." Well, let me get down to business, and I'll try and keep those two stories in mind. I want to congratulate my friend and colleague, President Bill Papp. His commitment and his leadership here at OSUIT has certainly succeeded in keeping this institution on the cutting edge in terms of transformative learning for students, creativity, and certainly as our graduates can show us today, significant job opportunities for graduates from OSUIT. I can tell the students you've got great role models in President Pat, your faculty, and the staff here at this institution. And certainly I can say this, as this has been my observation from my long involvement with OSUIT, the emphasis here is where it should be, and that's on the students' needs and the students' ability to succeed. And from what I can see here today, President Papp, I think that this class is going to be a very strong and lasting symbol of OSUIT's success under your leadership, the leadership of this faculty and this administration. Now I'd like to focus my comments directly to our graduates. You are graduating today from one of the most significant institutions in our state system. And certainly, I think as you do, there will be many choices ahead of you. As you make both career choices and personal choices, understandably, as you make certain choices, that closes doors, it closes other pathways to additional choices. today going forward, it's very important for you to evaluate your career options, many of you already have, and also your personal options, and then continue to use your judgment to make good choices. And I can tell you, you've made a great choice in making the decision to attend OSUIT. Commencement is our most treasured academic ceremony. By its very definition, commencement means to begin, but not to end. And if you think about it, today is the beginning of your life as a professional in your career and in your life. And I think you leave today with the knowledge that this institution has provided you a very solid foundation. But your learning doesn't stop here today. You will build on this learning for the rest of your life. President Path has already talked about and introduced most appropriately those that are in the audience today, parents and grandparents, family members, spouses, brothers and sisters, relatives and friends. And I think our graduates would acknowledge you wouldn't be here today without their constant support. And clearly their presence here today is a reaffirmation of that support, but I think it's very appropriate that all of our guests were introduced because each of you have played a very, very important role in this ceremony here today. I think the members of this class should have understandable satisfaction in knowing that they are the best and the brightest and the most academically talented students to graduate from this institution. And I would tell our graduates that your degree, in every sense of the word, is a global tool, which will give you the tools to compete successfully and effectively in what we all know is a rapidly changing world environment. We know that we're in the middle of constant change. We're seeing change everywhere. We also know if we're going to keep pace and we're going to survive and thrive, we've got to be able to be innovative and to adjust and to adapt to the change. And quite frankly, to grow in the midst of very, very significant change. Just think about it for a moment, graduates, since high school. Phrases like twittering, save the cloud, Skype, Vine, Tumblr, Instagram really weren't our vocabulary just a few years ago. And think for a moment what we will be encountering this next decade. There will be change, and our responsibility is to be in a position to adapt and to not just react to change, but to have a game plan on how to go forward. Your degree prepares you very well in this way because your faculty here at OSUIT have given you the tools. They've taken their responsibilities very seriously. They've given you the tools to critically think and to problem solve and to analyze, where 10 years from now, they can't teach you today the answer to a problem you may be presented with 10 years from now. But with these tools and with these skills and with this analysis, you'll be able to answer that question and solve that problem. In my job, I'm asked a lot why earning a degree is so very important. There's really several answers. I think first and foremost, in this new knowledge-based economy that we're in, 90% of the fastest growing jobs are going to be jobs that will require college degrees. Our United States Census Bureau tells us if you compare a high school diploma holder with a college degree holder, over a career lifetime, the individual with a college degree will earn over $1.1 million more. I think equally important, all the statistics and data show those with college degrees are the most engaged citizens. They are the ones that tend to be the leaders in our respective communities in this country. Graduation here today is significant from another standpoint. Your numbers show that 65% of our graduates here today are first-generation college students. That is, the first in your family to earn a college degree. So this is a very significant. It's a very significant and life-changing event for not only the graduates, but for the families that are here today. As we start getting ready for the summer season, we'll be seeing a lot of blockbuster movies opening in our theaters. Movies now with 3D animation, with high-tech graphics, and with endless action. And I'm a big fan of action movies, but what I want to talk about briefly today is a movie that was made way back in 1963. One of my favorite movies of all time. It was called Spencer's Mountain. It starred Henry Fonda, Reno era and James MacArthur. It was a movie about a family in Wyoming that worked in a rock quarry, and they struggled greatly to enroll their oldest in college. After exhausting all of their options, the Spencer family decided to sell their family land where they were in the process of building their dream home to get enough money to let the oldest enroll and start college. The oldest name was Clayboy, and as Henry Fonda and Marina Harrell walked Clayboy to the Greyhound bus to get on the bus to go to college, they told him that this was an opportunity that he should take very seriously. He needed to be in a position to not only go to college to do well, but to let his younger brothers and sisters stand on his shoulders, and he had a responsibility to give them the opportunity and the chance to go to college. It was a very moving picture. I love the message from Spencer's Mountain for several reasons. First of all, it highlights the strength of family and the family unit as they came together against very, very tough odds, and they sacrificed to meet the challenges. And also, the movie was a testimony to the fact that if you work hard and if you persevere, you're going to come out fine in the end. But most importantly, Spencer's Mountain stood for the proposition and the importance and, in fact, the critical value of earning a college degree. And it told us that a college degree really is transformational, as it opens doors for our graduates, as it helps them build their career, and quite frankly, as it changes their lives. I would encourage our graduates today also to dream big and to not be afraid when you encounter bumps in the road as you continue your path from this ceremony here today. What's most important is how you deal with those bumps in the road. At some point, you're going to be frustrated, and you may feel like you need to stop. Stop your job, stop whatever additional route that you're pursuing. And my message here today is don't stop. I want to share a couple stories about those in our history that did not stop. The first was a baseball player. Every year he played the major leagues, he led the major leagues in strikeouts. But that same player also hit 714 home runs during his major league career. His name was Babe Ruth, one of the great players to ever play the game. Another story about a country lawyer in Illinois. He ran for county judge and he lost. He ran for the state legislature and lost. He ran for county judge again and lost. He ran for Congress, was elected, then he was defeated for re-election. He ran for the United States Senate in 1858 and lost. And finally, after all those losses in 1860, he ran for President of the United States. His name was Abraham Lincoln, truly one of our greatest presidents. Finally, there's a story about an inventor from Dearborn, Michigan, who was on the verge of bankruptcy at the beginning of the 20th century. By the time he reached the age of 40, he had perfected the assembly line and was on his way to becoming one of our nation's first millionaires. His name was Henry Ford, who transformed the world that we live in today. I share these stories to let and to say to our graduates, your success is really measured by the whole picture, not by individual frames of that picture. And as you move forward today, and as you work to achieve success, I think we all need to understand that's more like a cross-country marathon race, not a 100-yard dash. You've got to keep working, you've got to keep playing. Several years ago, before his death, Senator Robert Kennedy told a group that each of us can use our privilege, our opportunity, and our education to merely seek gain for ourselves, personal gain. But he said as the years go on, you're going to judge yourself by the use of your gifts, your talents, and your education to enrich the lives of others. Thomas Jefferson said it another way when he said, for those of us who have more is expected. So I say to our graduates today, as you go forward and as we know that you will achieve, focus also on the importance of giving something back, whether it's to your family, to your church, to your state, to your college, or to your country. There is no greater feeling than to know that you have given someone else a hand up and enriched someone else's life. Finally, just a few thoughts as I close today. thoughts that have served me well through the years. First, in your job and in your personal life, always take care of business. Don't leave anything for tomorrow that you can accomplish today. Return your emails and your phone calls. Be on time for your appointments. Don't be afraid to take risks, but don't take foolhardy risks. Calculate the risk, calculate the outcome, and then make a good decision. I think it's also important to set a good example. You'll find that when you don't realize that they are, people are watching and observing, and if you set that example, it will stand the test of time. Also, I think it's important that you try to do your best. You don't always have to be the best, but if you do your best, you're going to come out just fine. I think you should be proud of the fact that you're graduates of this great institution. Your alumni, and many of them are here today, and walked the same sidewalks. They've sat in the same classrooms where you have sat. Certainly, I think you can see they are leaders today in business, in education, in government, in technology, in the military, in our healthcare professions. I think we want to assure our graduates that you can achieve the same way. In fact, you can achieve even more with your degree from OSUIT. This is a very special place. It's been a place where you've had the opportunity, as you work with your faculty, to see one generation meeting the next generation. You have seen lifelong learning occur at OSUIT. But most of all, I would submit, OSUIT is a place for possibilities. Possibilities for our students to achieve their hopes and their dreams. I want to close with a quote from the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs. A few months before his death, he spoke at a commencement ceremony where he reflected upon his own fight with cancer and also about the meaning of life. He took that opportunity to share with the graduates that evening three very important things. Steve Jobs said to the graduates that your time is limited, so don't waste your time living someone else's life. He also said don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your own inner voice. And finally, he said the most important thing to remember is to have the courage to follow your heart. He said it somehow already knows what you truly want to do. I would submit here today that our graduates have followed their hearts and their dreams as they reach this great milestone today of earning their college degree. So I'll simply close by saying, congratulations to our graduating class of 2015, the 200th class to graduate from this great institution. Everybody's message here today to you is, congratulations on a job very well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chancellor Johnson, for your inspiring words. I know we've all been thoughtful comments. It is now my privilege to introduce our student respondent, Mr. Andrew Cook. Andrew is graduating with an Associate in Applied Science in Engineering Graphics and Design Graphic Technology. Andrew and his wife made a decision nearly 2 years ago to relocate their young family or his family with a job he enjoys going to every day. He says, thanks to my degree and the investment of the faculty and staff at OSUIT, the future is looking bright for my family and me. Mr. Andrew Cook.
Thank you. Good afternoon. On behalf of the 200th Oklahoma State University Institute of Technology graduating class, I would like to thank the President Pat, Dr. Glen Johnson, guests and faculty and family and friends for attending today. It's an honor and privilege to have been chosen to give the student response. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on a special occasion. I'm graduating today with an associate degree in engineering graphics and design. I have a wife, Elizabeth, 2 children, Adelaide and Boyd, and we're very excited that we have another one on the way. We have 5 or 6 more making ourselves a reality TV show. came here to OSUIT with two goals in mind: equipping myself for a career that I would enjoy every day and to provide for my growing family. In August of 2013, we packed ourselves up and our 8-month-old at the time and moved from South Carolina without a whole lot to our hand. It felt risky, maybe even a little foolish, but I can honestly say it was worth it. My experience here far exceeded my expectations. We have had to stick with each other in faith and love through our time here and have come out better people for it. At OSUIT, I found opportunity. I was given the opportunity to do a federal work study here at Covell Hall, and I was able to meet a lot of people on campus. I was a commuting student each day, so this was a good opportunity. Mr. Freeman and Mr. Young were my primary teachers, and with them I found an opportunity to not only learn, but to succeed. They made the material clear and were always willing to provide us with help whenever we needed it. Graduates, the opportunity you and I found here doesn't end once we receive our diploma today, but rather it is a catalyst that can take you as far as you will let it. When I look back at my time here, it will be a great memory. OSUIT prepared me for the job that I've obtained through my internship at KMO Power in Bonita. My education has also given my family something that is invaluable, a sense of security for years to come. I've not only met the two goals I had in mind when I first submitted my application to OSUIT, but I surpassed it. In conclusion, there's a saying that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Graduates, I believe this is an integral part of our journey. Words are a big part of our lives and our schooling, whether written or spoken. I always say, think before you speak, because sometimes some things are better not to be said. Look around you and remember the friends and the good times, as well as we all part ways. Words have a lasting memory, so say something today that someone will never forget, and I think those are words to live by. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, and congratulations. Now, would all candidates for graduation please rise? President Papp, I am pleased to represent the faculty and inform you that these candidates for graduation have completed the requirements prescribed by the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education for the degrees of Associate in Applied Science, Bachelor of Technology, and Associate in Science. I hereby recommend to you that the degrees be conferred.
Upon this recommendation, and by the authority vested in me by the OSU Board of Regents and the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education, it is my distinct privilege as President of Oklahoma State University Institute of Technology to confer upon each of you the degrees for which you have been recommended, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.